What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the TEC Show. So today we're going to talk a little bit about the race in Texas, Jasmine Crockett against Talarico. There's been a little bit of a shakeup that just happened a few days ago. We're going to go over that today. And then I want to look at the fundraising between the two candidates because we can learn a lot from fundraising. So that's what we're going to focus on in this video. But first off, you guys can do me a favor. Please like the video. And if you're watching this video and you want to see more content like this, please consider subscribing to the channel. And so Talarico is being interviewed by it was a voter as well as a reporter is what I'm hearing, maybe an influencer. And she said that Talarico said some things that were derogatory towards Colin Allred. And so as a result of her going on TikTok and saying these things, Colin Allred responded to what Talarico said. And then Talarico responded, and then Jasmine Crockett, she's pretty much stayed out of it, but I think she did have a little to say, but nothing derogatory towards Talarico or anything like that. And so that's where we are right now. So I'm going to show you the clip, and then I'll actually show you the response. I'll show you parts of the response from the interviewer because she had another response. So she wanted to bring receipts. She wanted to show that she had this interview. And so I'll show you that as well. So let's go ahead and play the first part, and then we'll come back. Here we go.
On politics now, a little deeper tonight, a major dust-up between two high-profile Texas Democrats over racially charged comments allegedly made in private to a voter. All of this is stemming from a TikTok video, this one right here, posted by a woman named Morgan, who says she's from Dallas. She says she asked State Representative and candidate for U.S. Senate James Talarico about her concerns relating to black people, when out of nowhere, she says that Talarico told her this.
James Talarico told me that he signed up to run against a mediocre black man, not a formidable and intelligent black woman. And I want to explain why this.
Well, that woman referring to Jasmine Crockett, the congresswoman, who is also running for Senate. The man she's referring to being former Congressman Colin Allred, who left the race back in December for the Senate. Well, tonight, Allred criticized Talarico on X.
First of all, let me just give you some free advice, James. If you want to compliment black women, just do it. Just do it. Don't do it while also tearing down a black man, okay? We've seen that play before. We're sick and tired of it. We're tired of folks using praise for black women to mask criticism for black men. That's not good for our...
So that was the first volley. Then Talarico responded to all of this saying, quote, "This is a mischaracterization of a private conversation. In my praise of Congresswoman Crockett, I described Congressman Allred's method of campaigning as mediocre, but his life and service are not. I would never attack him on the basis of race." We did reach out, by the way, to Thompson for comment, but have not heard back as of yet. It is worth noting that she now supports Crockett for Senate.
So that's the controversy there. Now, this is not a good look for Democrats because now you're in a situation where you have Talarico trying to defend himself right before, because remember, March 3rd, that's when the primary is. And so right before the primary, now you have Talarico trying to defend himself, and you have Colin Allred out there speaking out, and then you have Jasmine Crockett trying to, not say too much or not really say anything about that and really just focus on the campaign. And so we'll have to see what type of impact this has. And what makes this worse is this was an interview, and this is kind of a he said, she said, because I don't think it was recorded. I'm going to play you guys a clip of the interviewer. First, she's going to show some receipts to show that, yes, she did have an interview with Talarico, and then she'll go into exactly what happened. And so I'm going to play a little bit of that clip, the beginning where she's giving the receipts, and then we'll skip to the end where she talks about what Talarico said. So let's go and take a look at that.
To get some receipts in regards to me saying that James Talarico called Colin Allred a mediocre black man in a one-on-one conversation that we had. So I'm going to walk you through kind of what this looked like and what led to this conversation so you all know what actually happened. So this is the photo I took with him at the town hall. It was on January 12th in Plano. And just to establish that we actually know each other and he knows who I am. He follows me on here on his account. We're mutuals. So probably not for very long, but it's there. I also talk about going to his rally here in Dallas. It was in September, on September 18th in this video. And this is a video I posted interviewing him at that same town hall in September. So, okay. So as far as the actual conversation is concerned, this is the staff person. This is the text thread I have with them. They have a creator program. The person that I'm speaking with runs that program. They send us stuff. They'll send us press releases. They'll send us updates when he has certain interviews, or There's new numbers coming out as far as like, you know, fundraising and stuff like that. And that's what this was. She sent me this update on his fundraising. And this was my response back, because a lot of times when they're sending you things, they're wanting you to actually cover it. So just to add some additional context from the previous video, the response that I'm about to show you, I sent it to her because I was already upset about the James Carville email and text message, because I was already upset at the fact that this man that has said that we need to drop woke politics is now sending emails for donations on Talarico's behalf. So wasn't comfortable with it. I decided to take a step back from covering it on my page, and this is what I sent in response to her. Feel free to pause and look at it. This is her response to me saying, hey, didn't like this, not comfortable talking about this anymore because of it. She said, hey, let's hop on a call. I'm free for the rest of the day. So we get on the call. She tells me, or tries to explain away the article basically. And it was like, oh, you know, people are getting caught up in the headline and that kind of thing. And I'm like, I've read the article. This is not a headline thing. I don't like what I read. And I'm like, also don't like people co-opting woke the way they have from Black people. It really bothers me. And she tried to explain what was happening with them working with Carville, or whatever, however you say his name. And I was just kind of like, it's not really changing anything for me. So I think she could kind of pick up on that. So she offered for me to have a one-on-one conversation with James directly, because she was like, I know I can say all this stuff, but it'd probably mean more if it came from him. I was like, yeah, actually, yeah. So she was like, you can have the conversation on the record, you can have it off the record. And as far as just to explain my thought process while I was having this conversation with her, I didn't want to have the conversation on the record because this wasn't something I was trying to put out on my page. This was me less so coming as a content creator, and more so coming as a voter and a advocate for my people and a potential constituent, because I'm like, he still has the ability to win this primary race. And if that's the case, then I want to know that he's going to be keeping Black people in mind and not subscribing to this thought process that James Carville keeps pushing, right? So I was like, I'd much rather do it off the record. So that's the reason why there's not a video from this conversation I had with James. And I wanted the conversation to be candid. So that's why I was like, I'm not really trying to like get talking points or anything like that. I want to hear straight up what he's going to tell me. So she offers this. I say, let me think about it, and, you know, I'll follow up. And she's like, okay, cool. So she offers times where maybe we could have this conversation. It was like Plano, Austin, whatever. I couldn't do Austin, so I was like, Plano, that'd be preferred. And this is what the message I sent. I was like, would it still be possible to have an off-the-record conversation with him? She says, yes, of course. And this is where we set up the actual conversation before the town hall. This is where she's like, I'm thinking before the town hall, we have 5 to 7 minutes during the creator, blah, 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 blah. And this is where she confirms it. Okay, so you see that timing, January 9th.
Okay, so she set it up. She's showing the receipts and everything. Now, one thing that really struck me as odd in this whole situation. Now, I'm not saying that, like I said, this is a he said, she said. We don't know what happened in this interview, but she's a content creator. She has an opportunity to interview a person running for Senate in Texas. Why wouldn't she want this on the record? Why wouldn't she record this? Why wouldn't she put this out if she's a content creator? Now, she did say, well, you know, I did it as a voter, but realistically, the reason why she's in contact with these campaigns is because she's a content creator. And the people that she's talking to, they're the ones that are, you know, working with different content creators. So it's a little hard. And you know, I'm speaking as a content creator. If I had an opportunity to talk to Talarico, to talk to Jasmine Crockett, to talk to any politician that's running for office, you better believe I'm going to want that to be recorded, because I'm going to use it because I'm a content creator and I want to get that message out there. And so I don't know about that. You know, that's a little strange. I'm sure as a content creator, you're going to want to get that. You're going to want to get that, take that opportunity to interview someone on the record. Even if it's not, you know, you're not video, you know, it's not a video recording, get the audio. At least get the audio. That way you can put it out there and you can talk about it and all of that. I mean, it's good content. So as a content creator, I don't know. Like, I would think that she would want to get that and not do it off the record. We're not talking, I mean, she's not, the mainstream media where they do stuff behind closed doors and, we'll do this off the record and that wasn't on the record. This is on the record. It's not like that. She's a content creator. And if that's the case, why not record it? That makes sense to record it, because now you're in a situation where you didn't record it and you're saying that Talarico said these things, and now Talarico saying, well, no, I didn't say it that way. I said it this way, but you don't have it recorded. Okay, let's go ahead. We're going to play where she talks about exactly what was said. Here we go.
Of like, James should have ran for governor, Jasmine for Senate, or, all that kind of stuff. And I tell him that, and he was like, that is when he made the comment. He said, look, I signed up to run against a mediocre black man, not a formidable, intelligent black woman. Now, I'm going to say this, and this is something I actually factored into me not saying something at first, because when he said it, I kind of laughed it off, because I was like, it really threw me off. Like, considering the conversation we just had, I was like, oh, okay. Like, you know how like when you get thrown off and which is very much not like me. I'm very much somebody that, like, I don't care the setting. Like, if somebody's saying something funky about black people, I'm gonna say something. But it really threw me off considering the conversation that we had just had, the reason I was there, that kind of thing. So in that moment, I did not say anything. But coming out of that conversation is when I started to be like, okay. So that is kind of how that conversation went. I quite literally have everything but like an actual like recording of him saying this. I even have a video of me asking this question of him of like how he feels about race and how that factors into his policy at the town hall. So that is what happened. I did not come forward with this lightly. I knew people were going to question me because I don't have a literal recording of the conversation, but I really hope his team is not the reason why my IG account was deleted very shortly after posting this previous video.
And so I'm just putting that out there. Now, I'm not, like I said, I'm not saying that she is not telling the truth or Talarico is not telling the truth. We don't know. And we'll probably never know what happened in the situation. And there's one more thing that I want to say when it comes to how this was handled. So both Talarico and Colin Allred, I think they handled this poorly. And I'm going to explain to you why. So when it comes to Colin Allred, he gets online and posts on Instagram or wherever it was, he posted about, this whole incident. I watched it. It was like 2.5 minutes. And, he was visibly upset about this whole situation. Now, the issue that I have with Colin Allred doing that is he should have reached out to the Talarico campaign and get the story from Talarico first, because you're hearing someone say something. So you're hearing this content creator put this information out there, and then you're going online and you're talking about it without talking to that person first. Maybe Colin Allred did make an attempt to talk to Talarico's campaign and talk to Talarico, and it didn't happen, and that's why he put out the information. But I would think that in this situation, the Talarico campaign, if Colin Allred reached out to the Talarico campaign, they would have responded really fast. And so that's, I just don't like that. I don't come from that age. I come from an age where you talk to the people before you get online and you start just saying things, because you don't know. You have a content creator saying something. You don't know if what she's saying is 100% correct. Obviously, if you talk to Talarico, it might not be 100% correct either, but at least you get that side. Okay, you're only listening to one side and you're getting out there, and now you've damaged if they even had a relationship between Talarico and Colin Allred. If they had any type of relationship, you've ruined that now because you've just gotten out there and put out information not knowing all of the facts. Now, Talarico campaign, I think they handled it poorly. Talarico handled it poorly because as soon as that information came out, Talarico should have been on the phone talking to Colin Allred and said, look, this is not what happened. This is what I said. And at least give his side. And maybe that would have diffused this whole situation with Colin Allred, and Colin Allred wouldn't have gotten out there and, started going, pretty much going after Talarico. Because who's watching all this? Paxton's watching this. And Cornyn's watching this. And I think Paxton put out a tweet. Now, I haven't been able to verify if that was an actual tweet, but put out a tweet just, saying, look, mediocre black man. So you're going to have Republicans that are going to use this against Democrats. And so that's why in situations like this, you guys need to talk to each other prior to putting stuff out. And then when Talarico responds, what's his response? His response is on social media. So no one's talking to each other anymore. And so we'll have to see how it plays out. But I mean, the damage is pretty much done now. And even though, I mean, there's no way to prove that what was said in this interview. And so people are going to believe what they want to believe. Okay, I want to go into this last little thing here. I want to talk a little bit about the fundraising, because they showed this on I think that first video clip that I showed. And I just want to go over this because just looking at the money that's been spent, okay, now looking at cash on hand, we have 7 million. So just over 7 million. That's what Talarico has. And then cash on hand for Jasmine Crockett is about 5.5 million. So 5.6 million. Now, what I find interesting, and we understand that Talarico has been running for Senate longer than Crockett, but Talarico has spent $6 million already. So he spent $6 million. First off, he raised $13 million, which was pretty impressive. He spent $6 million, and part of all that spending is just getting his name out there. People they didn't know who Talarico was prior to this. And there are a lot of people that don't know who Talarico is. And so he's putting a lot of money out there just to get people to know who he is. But this $13 million is something that, like I said, this is impressive that he was able to raise that much money. Now, when we're looking at Crockett has spent, and she got in the race late, but she spent $900,000. Okay, people already know who Jasmine Crockett is. So it's a lot easier for her as far as moving forward. She doesn't have to raise as much money because that name recognition is already there. And so I just think that's worth mentioning. So looking forward, March 3rd, that's when we're going to see this primary election. So we'll see who comes out on top. And I'll keep following this race just to see how it progresses. Right now, they're neck and neck when you're looking at polling. There was only one poll, and that could have been an outlier that was showing Talarico. It had like 7 or 8 points up over Crockett. But the majority of the polling that we're seeing, it's either Crockett's ahead or Crockett is slightly ahead, or she has a larger lead, maybe 5 or 6 points. And so we'll have to see, getting closer to March 3rd, what happens. And so that's all for this video, but I want to know what you guys think. What do you think about the controversy? Let me know in the comments below. What do you think about Jasmine Crockett or Talarico? Who do you want to see win? I know some people are saying, well, they're both good candidates. You know, whoever wins, I would vote for them in the general. So let me know your thoughts below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye. So that's all we have for this video. Make sure if you guys want to send me an email, you can do that, david@thetecshow.com. Like the video, subscribe for more, and check out these videos over here for some more great content. Talk to you later. Bye.